If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. I post a new Tom Brady video every day.
Trust is really big, and I feel like he has to trust people to put the trust is so hard to earn there and so easy to lose, and that's okay. What about your quarterback, Tom, who's like one of your best friends, but there's a business side to that relationship, and was there ever a time where momentarily the trust like dipped below where the friendship was on the field and you had to earn it back?
I would say early when I started playing a lot, like in 13 or like 12, 2012, and those years, like when I was trying to crack the lineup, that was like a huge thing where like if I didn't do something right, he wasn't going to look at me for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like then it was just going straight, Welker all day or anything. Like every play that I had that was designed to go to me, I had to execute to an exact T. Or like you said, the trust is gone, and that's how he is. And at least when he was in New England, it was very hard to earn that, and he had to see it consistently through practice for him to actually feel that and be comfortable with giving you a little hint of trust, not even like the full trust. But then as it went on to our career later in my career, it was more of, we had such a routine on and off the field, in the off season and learning each other, where I think that trust was, it was building even bigger and bigger through practices and compounding just through the years. So like that was our relationship.
Hey, say what you want. Like Bruce Arians says, the greatest leader in the history of the sport, obviously one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
What were his biggest pet peeves, if you could share any?
His biggest pet peeve was if you didn't come flat to downhill, like on outbreaking routes. Like that's why like he hated or in cuts. Like if you didn't go flat to downhill, if guys rounded it and got undercut, like, and that was something that was always as a quarterback, I remember that, throwing to guys that if a guy didn't come flat to downhill, he's not protecting the throw. So I would come down on even an out route. I'd come down even like 45 degrees and almost look like a comeback, but that's what he wanted because it made him feel safe to throw the ball. You know what I mean? It was those types of things that he would get really mad about, or stacking a guy on a out breaking or a seam or like a seam or a 9 route, that stacking, giving him room, not getting pushed out of the side. He hated that. He would always get so mad, and he'd always want you to get into your route, like get into your route. Yeah. Like don't kill the ants at the line of scrimmage. Let's get into our route. I mean, the release game. Yeah. Well, let's get into the route and look when you're open. That was always a huge thing. There was a whole lot of things.
Was it like watching, like, I'm sure as you're watching him in Tampa, you don't have time to watch his games like that, but you probably catch a few.
I watched every single one.
Okay, there we go. All right. It was like watching an ex-girlfriend and you're like a little stalker-ish, or you're watching, like, you don't just like scroll the timeline every now and again. You're like 50 weeks deep. Liking photos.
I was hurt last year, so I was watching all the games.
I mean, so you're watching and like
he's on primetime games. This guy was on primetime every week.
I know he was. He was stacking them up. How about the Chicago game? What are you thinking watching that Chicago game when he's laying on the ground and Khalil Mack's just breathing on him?
I was thinking like that's gonna piss him off. You know what I mean?
He had one of the worst drives that I've ever seen, like, period, and it wasn't his fault. There were like 5 penalties. Jensen had a penalty. There was another hold. Then he got sacked, and then they did something else, and then he forgot what down it was. And I was just like, his head is ready to explode. I've never seen him matter.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely tell.
Here's what scouts said about Brady, and this is why, Joy, I think he dropped. They didn't like his body. They didn't look at his production, his intelligence, his efficiency. They just stared at the body.
What about when you're watching him this last year, the happiness that he exuded? It had nothing. I have not bit the cheese on this. Like, there's some big drama thing. Like, it's a 20-year relationship, okay? And sometimes you want to do something different. That doesn't mean you hate the last place, and it can be exhilarating. Novelty's cool. He's down in Tampa. He's showing a little more personality, which is like Yeah, Bill's got rules. You don't want to disrespect his rules. What was that like, seeing that side of him? Were you excited about it? Were you like kind of following along and like pointing at the TV like that's like the Leo gif, you know? Like that's the Tom I know.
I was happy for him, but I seen that side of him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of, he's been, you know, he was probably a little more reserved when he was here. He was also older, and it was, you know, probably a little repetitive for him to go out, all right, win the Super Bowl, go to a parade, same place, same energy,
so dull.
You know what I mean? If you think about it, and then he goes to Miami or goes into Florida, I mean, it's different. So it's probably
this parade's on a boat.
Yeah,
I can throw the trophy over the canal.
Yeah, I mean, he do those fun types of things here. Just it wasn't as
broadcasted, right? Yeah,
broadcasted. You know,
will he show up to get ring 7 with the other 6?
I think so.
So he can, do a little of that with all of them on there.
Why not? I mean, you've done
They're
it.
They're not Buccaneers rings.
I know. So what? You've done it every other year. You got a T-shirt that says your name and 7 on it. So what? Show all 7. Damn, you're the only one that's got 7 of them. So do it.
Will he put the new ring on a middle finger?
Probably. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. He might do that. Yeah, just like send it up to like the Patriots organization. Like, hey, look what I found this year.
I guess then the question is, because I never hung around. You hang around Tom when he's at his best, and by best I mean like he's tanked, he's having fun, like, which is rare. So I hear. Is he a? We most people have only seen him getting escorted off the boat. What's the loose Tom like?
I mean, he's just like one of the other guys, man. He's competitive, wants to compete at everything. I mean, he's a fun guy to be around. He's like, he could chug a beer. The guy can chug a beer pretty fast. I'm telling you.
I've heard this actually.
Very fast. We had a because I could chug a beer pretty decent too, and we had a showdown over in Rochester, New York, when we got snowed in one time after clinching 2009 AFC East championship. We got snowed in. We couldn't stay in Buffalo, so they bussed us to Rochester. We went to Rochester. We went to this dinosaur barbecue, like with the whole team. We started drinking beers and stuff, and like. We chugged, and he got me fair and square. So
I
had to give him my
that's the fun part, though, when your teammates, like, you know, the NFL is way different than college, where we all, like, we're going back to where we live. We all live together. Like, the NFL is like, you know, you got this dude over here, this guy here. You know, like, I might not even know much about this guy on the other side of the locker room, but when you're all stuck somewhere, or you're all like snowed in or something, like that's when you can all hang out. And some of the shittiest times yield the best like hangouts.
You know what? That's in 2014 when we went on our run. We lost to the Packers, and then we flew directly to San Diego. We had to San Diego the next week, and we stayed out there for a week. And like that, it's kind of like that bro time that, like you said, you don't get that as much because you got married men, you got your single men, you got your your religious guys, you got your guys that are trying to make a team, and there's different cliques, and they're never really together. You get the most togetherness is when, like, the night before the game, when everyone's eating wings or everyone's eating,
burgers,
food in front of the burgers or whatever. Everyone's eating. We're all sitting watching college football before meetings, so you get like an extended version of that. And that's where we molded our team that year. I remember specifically in those like practice trips where you go to another team and have those joint practices. Those were always fun to me because that's when you got to hang out with the guys the most. You hang out with guys that you don't necessarily hang out with because they're married or they have family or the kid guys. And
people could not get past he was skinny. Little bit of a late bloomer. He was thin. He was drafted by Major League Baseball. Smart, tall, productive, efficient, getting better. Beat out Drew Henson at Michigan, who was a top baseball prospect, a better athlete than Tom. And the Big Ten was a more esteemed conference. But sometimes you got to look through the other end of the telescope, and people got caught up on Russell Wilson's height, and they just couldn't get past it. And they got caught on Tom Brady's body. And you remember he just didn't have much of a chest, and he was kind of bony. And it really is amazing that even Tom came out, if he came out today as unathletic as he is, from a less esteemed Big Ten conference. I mean, he's just tall, skinny, bony guy. There's no way he's going to the 6th round. A guy that's playing at Michigan on TV 9 times, very good in all the big games, throws a great ball, accurate. You think he drops to the 6th round? I just think Tom's a whiff. I don't think it's anything more than that. A guy from Hofstra got drafted ahead of him in the 3rd round. Didn't play a snap in the NFL, I don't think.
Well, you guys always had a scrappy offense, even before, like, you know, I got to see that high-powered offense, really, though. But still, there's always an element of we're scratching, we're clawing, we have to sustain drives. And that's why, like, I think Bill's so hardcore on, like, I'm going to smack the shit out of that ball out of your hand at practice. I'm going to squirt water on the ball, all that crazy he does.
The silicone balls.
What about the silicone balls?
Well, he has these balls that he greases with silicone.
Is this the hot tub story?
No. There's like this. He puts this grease on these balls, and we have to do like it's literally you can't use gloves. Like you can't pick up the ball. It's so slick.
Yeah.
Like he's sitting there. You got coaches with freaking boxing gloves trying to take him out and stuff.
Speaking of being a backup, backing up Tom Brady. Not a bad person to be backing up and learning from. What have some of your interactions with him been like so far? And what are the things that you feel like you're going to most be studying about him and wanting to learn or pick up from him?
Yeah, he did, reach out and just, welcome me to the team and, invite me to go throw with him and, some of the other guys. And, I'm just really looking forward to picking up any kind of football knowledge. I'm here to learn as much ball as I can. And just the opportunity to be in the same room as, the greatest of all time is something that not a lot of people get to experience. And, other than that, I'm really excited to be here and ready to get started.
Bruce, I don't even know him, but just being around him the few times we have real quick at like the combine and things like that, man.
He's awesome.
He's awesome. He's as quick as there is. I mean, I think I've told the story before. I asked him one time, I said, you still got pictures over at that facility of me? And, as he's walking off set, he goes, yeah, somewhere by the training room, and kept walking. I was like, that's an amazing comeback. Way to go.
So could you ever coach was the question I was going to ask.
Hell no.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
So. Yeah.
I put 14 hours a day in as a player.
Yeah.
And you see coaches that put it in probably another 5 hours.
Yeah.
And don't when you go and you're leaving the facility and you're seeing the coach in the parking lot with his family in his car who had to come see him at his little like dinner break before they go have like 9 o'clock.
That shit is really.
I'm seeing guys playing catch with their kids in the parking lot.
Drive-through visits.
Drive-through visits. I mean, that I can't do that. I mean, and that tells you, and that's why you tip your hat to guys.
Yeah.
At our, in New England that have put in so much time. Those coaches, they do a lot of that, and I know it's not like that everywhere. But the fact that I have that in my head that some group is doing that, then I wouldn't be able to sleep if I was on another coaching staff and having to like, all right, we're not really doing that much like here, like, cause I've heard how it is in certain places where it's different here and there. That, and then also another factor is, I mean, it's the young guys are crazy. These young dudes, like coaching these guys, it's nuts.
Yeah.
That's it for this video. I post a new Tom Brady video every day, so please like and subscribe. That way you'll always have a new Tom Brady video to watch every single day. Thanks for watching.